What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to be talking about more stationery, specifically G.Lalo Toile Impériale. I'm going to assume I said that correctly. So this paper here comes in this crinkly package. You get 50 sheets. This is A4 size, which is 8 1/4 inches by 11 3/4 inches. Yeah, so it's A4, so it's pretty big. You know, here's my head. So taking it out of this annoying plastic, this is what it gets shipped in. Whoosh! Comes with that sound effect too. So this specifically is the Toile Impériale. But there are different kinds of this brand that you can get. This was the middle of the road price point wise. So for the A4 size, Canadian pricing, you're looking at $16.50. For American dollars, for the same size, you're looking at $12.50. You can also get a smaller A5 size for $9.50. For US and Canadian a piece. So, what is this paper? Well, much like the Life brand notebook that I did before, or the stationery that I did before, it is a pad. Wow, that is seriously blown out. It looks as though it's lined, right? Wrong. It's not. It's not actually lined. It is completely blank. The reason why it looks like it's lined is because, ta-da! It has a cheat sheet. So it is blank paper, but there is a lined piece underneath it, so that way when you're writing, you can write as though you know how to write in a straight line, which I'm sure everybody, or the vast majority, like me, can't do that to save their frickin' soul. So they do have a cheat sheet that is included, which is really, really nice, because otherwise it's just completely blank paper, and I would probably start writing like this. So that's really nice. It does have a texture to it, which is kind of really hard to show you here, so I'm going to get that in a close-up when I show you my writing samples. But you do feel a texture to it. It's very much, kind of looks like little teeny squares everywhere. And it is raised, and you do feel the texture when you are writing. Now, the finish of it is very glossy, so even though you feel the texture underneath your tines and your nib while you write, it doesn't feel scratchy. You just, you know that there's something there, because that there is such a gloss to the paper. You will have no problem like with your nib gliding over. Because it does have that gloss though, every once in a while you will get maybe a hard start. So in my sample sheet that I'm about to show you, none of them actually had hard starting, except for when I was writing with the Mont Blanc 149, or 147, sorry. That one I had a bit of a hard start with, but other than that, the others seem to work pretty well with no issue. I did also write a full-length pen pal letter in with the Karis Customs fountain pen, and I also noticed that where I placed my hands on the paper, the oil residue, and I do not have oily hands. In fact, I have very dry hands, but still, wherever I had my hand, occasionally I could tell that the oil had transferred onto the paper, and it did cause the ink to sort of skip over some areas where I had my hand. And again, I think that's because of the high gloss of the paper. So just something to be aware of. If you're going to use this paper, maybe have either another page on top where your hand is going to be sitting, or have like a little card that your hand can glide along while you are using it. So yeah, so that's some cons that I noticed. But let me flip around the camera and show you the close-up angle. So this was my like pen and ink test page, and I hope you can see with this lighting, this paper really shows off shading very nicely. Absolutely no feathering. There's no, real bleed through, which I'll show you in a second what I mean by real bleed through. I like the fact that, when you get those really fine nibs, you do get a relatively crisp line. Every once in a while, if I kind of zoom in as much as I can here, you'll see a tiny bit of what appears to be feathering. It isn't actually, because the paper is textured. Sometimes in these little ridges here, the ink will continue into those. So it's not actually feathering, it's just continuing on, like with the fabric of the paper, if you want to call it that. So it definitely does have a texture, and you can feel it with your hands, and like I said, you can definitely feel it with your tines, but it's not really annoying to me because it does have a bit of gloss on top of it. So you do get that every once in a while, but for the vast majority of the time it is sharp. You can, in the Mont Blanc 147, kind of see the texture underneath the ink, but I kind of actually like that. It gives it a good character, in my opinion. The Pilot Parallel, you can see my truly atrocious skills at holding the parallel straight. But then again, when I wrote this, it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning and I was really tired. And then I also did a Q-tip J.Herbin Cube de Chypre test to really kind of put it to its max. You get a little bit of sheen. One thing I will say is that the other paper that I talked about, the Life brand, you do actually get a slightly better sheen in that one compared to this. So if you're going for full sheen value, the Life brand is a little bit better. But I really still think that this is pretty good to get that green sheen out of there. As far as ghosting or anything like that, regular writing, there is none. You can continue to write on the back of the page with no problems whatsoever. There's no ghosting or anything like that. When you get into the heavy duty stuff, you can definitely see, where the Pilot Parallel was, and you can certainly see where my swab was. It did kind of bleed a little bit here, but in defense of the paper, I poured it on really, really thick. You're never gonna get that much ink on this paper with just normal writing. Even the Pilot Parallel, I would say you could still write on the back of that with no issue, and you'd still be able to read it, but you can, of course, see it. But regular writing, you can't really see it all because the paper is pretty thick paper. So overall, I'm actually pretty happy with it. I'm a little annoyed sometimes, like I said, with the Mont Blanc 147 and my Keras Customs that I was writing with. Sometimes I would get hard starts here and there. With these ones that I wrote up here, I never had that happen. Obviously neither with these either, but I did get hard starts every once in a while. I will definitely continue to use the rest of this notepad, and this will probably take me a good while before I can go through it. But I'm interested to try the other versions because there is one version that's less expensive than this, which I would almost assume would be like lesser quality paper, but who knows? And there is another kind that is more expensive than this that I'm curious to see what the difference would be. If any of you have experience with the G.Lalo writing pads, let me know what you think. If you've tried this one, what are your comparison thoughts to the other brands? I would be really, really interested in trying that out. Would I recommend this? Yeah, probably I would. I don't know if I would get the A4 size. I'd probably get the A5 size next time, but yeah, I would. Like I said, there are just a few things to watch out for when you are getting into this paper. But guys, that's about it for me today. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't yet done so already, please do subscribe. New videos come out every Monday and Friday and the occasional Tuesday. And don't be afraid of the comment section either. I do read them all, and I try and answer them all as soon as I can as well. Awesome, guys. I will see you next time. Bye.